Today, I'm setting the record straight on 3 myths about first-generation professionals. My name is Mariana. I'm a first-generation professional and certified leadership coach, helping other first-gen pros and 21st century leaders navigate complex career environments. Myth number 1, only people of color can be first-generation professionals. This is false. The term first-generation professional applies to anyone who is the first in their family to graduate with a 4-year college degree and successfully transition into a white-collar career. While cultural or ethnic backgrounds definitely play into it, a big determining factor is the socioeconomic class that someone is born into. A white person who comes from a low-income background runs into many of the same challenges with unwritten rules and expectations in the corporate world as a person of color who's also from a low-income background. Myth number 2, if your parents were successful professionals in their native country and immigrated here, you can't be considered a first-generation professional. Again, this is false. While this could apply to some, it overlooks the fact that many times the education or professional experience that a person acquired in their native country isn't considered equivalent to the expectations of U.S. work culture and educational standards. Historically, it's been common for non-European professionals who immigrate here to have no choice but to accept employment in jobs they are wildly overqualified for because their foreign degree and experience is not considered to be sufficient to compete for roles that are similar to the ones they held in their country of origin. Yes, this is highly problematic, and we can deal with this topic in another video. So while a person's parents may have graduated college and enjoyed a professional career in their homeland, the culture of unwritten rules they might have had to navigate were likely much different from what their children encounter here, leaving their offspring feeling just as unprepared to deal with the same challenges for decoding workplace expectations as American-born first-generation professionals. Myth number 3. Once you're in your corporate career for a few years, you can't call yourself a first-generation professional anymore. This is probably the biggest misconception of all. There's no age limit to being a first-generation professional. If you're growing in your career, you're consistently going to be confronted with new unwritten rules the higher up the promotion chain you go. There's this idea that you can only call yourself a first-generation professional if you're in the first few years of a white-collar career. Speaking as a first-generation professional, it's simply not true. It's normal for old doubts and disempowering beliefs to resurface as our titles and responsibilities and salaries increase. For many, myself included, it's familiar to experience some internal conflict, especially with regard to moving into a higher socioeconomic status. That shift often brings other challenges into the mix around things like managing finances and family dynamics. I'm new here on YouTube, recently having transferred from TikTok, so I kindly ask that you subscribe and follow along for more first-generation professional and human-centered leadership insights.